Whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa. Just people come together and for the world is trouble and living it easy. The world is trouble. You've got to believe me. The world is trouble and living it easy. The whole world is in trouble. You've got to believe me. That's the way all evils fail. Don't play a hero, you'll end down in hell. You've got your troubles and I've got mine. Let's work together to make things fine. We gotta be sure of all the things we do. Preserve our lives being pure and true. The things we feel and see we're meant to be. Is that fulfillment of prophecy? The world is just trouble and living it easy. The world is trouble. You've got to believe me. Yes, the world is trouble and living it easy. The whole world is in trouble. You've got to believe me. The end shall not be near. After all these things shall come to pass, the end shall not be near. There shall be hijacking, kidnapping all over the earth. Well, famine and wars all over the world. Well, got to come together. Well, got to come together. Got to come together. Well, hey guys, for the world is trouble and living it easy. The world is trouble. You got to believe me. The world is trouble and living it easy. The whole world is in trouble. You've got to believe. Oh yeah. Oh mankind. Oh yeah. Look around and see. And after all these things shall come to pass, the end shall not be near. And after all these things shall come to pass, the end is not yet near. Whoa, yeah. There shall be hijacking, kidnapping all over the earth. Well, famine and wars all over the earth. Oh, yes, all of that.
Yes, greetings. We're there with you. Things and times and the reflection. World's in trouble. Man called Luciano says, yes, it's a serious thing. So on reflection, when we look and see that the people, the governments, they're dangerous. The people, the governments that speaks this. Yeah, I mean, I know I'm just now because we just get a gremlin. But the people, them, pardon for that technical things, you know what I mean, life. The people who speaks for their country and some say they must speak for the world with them G5 or G7 and so forth. They speak a lot and they condemn other countries for human right violation. And these people have never seen themselves or have ever experienced free of poverty, free of alcoholism, free of prostitution, free of all form of atrocious crime, free of all form of corruption, free of all forms of wars. You hear that word there? Wars. You know? And I was making out that them go to separate people, but them go and divide people. Them obliterate other countries. And they speak about this, putting them back in the Stone Age, where they came from. I mean, they were cave people, yes? But nevertheless, it's not about slandering. It's about the reality. And I watched the United Nations and see that there's a set of people that are real supremacists, racist, and they treat other people as inferiors. And that their words, their grammar, their pronunciations, their innuendos, and their continuation of repeating a sentence or a word, Hamas are terrorists. Islam harbors extremists. By now, every child, and they're using the word our babies, because that journalist, that person, that female, that said that there were babies with their heads off. It was a direct ploy, well orchestrated. Then apologized, but it was not international. It was not, that person wasn't taken to the United Nations. That person's, the organization that person worked for did not come out clear. I was not asked to. So that BBC, Sky, CNN, Fox, and everybody across the earth get to hear and see or hear whoever that person represent apologizing for misappropriation and lie. So now you find that these people are using the text. Everything that was dramatized in the first 2 hours were used at the United Nations. And then when a resolution now was drawn up, it was based off the fact that the United States have visited not the scene of the event, but have visited the Prime Minister of the anyway. And that become disturbing because that was meant to say that it was first-hand experience, and based on the fact that he took time out of his schedule, already I create problems with the Soviet Union, NATO, and Ukraine, and then preparing for an election. But who is the chief? He is the chief, the commander-in-chief. And the first thing him said, even before him leave him country, is that we stand with you and that you have a right to defend yourself. And Hamas are terrorists. And he knows and they know, and all political stages, them know that Hamas is the electoral government. But also Hamas is Robin Hood. Them not steal from the rich and give to the poor. They're defending themselves and their people. So all of a sudden now, they're the terrorists. So how much years now you've been abusing in the last 20 years? Every Ramadan in that 20 years and Eid, you've afflicted them. You have afflicted us with all kinds of atrocities. You bomb up the place, you smash up the place, you kill people, you violate our mosques, and you arrest people, and you take houses and you destroy houses. There was no United Nations secretary that had the courage to say what this secretary has said. And he contextualized it. He never turned on and said that the Palestinians are rogues, or you are rogues, and the Palestinians are angels. He said no. What he painted was that two wrongs don't make a right, and that you are the wrong. And now you ask for him to resign. Because you know the next thing that's coming, and want people to be arrested for crimes against humanity and war crimes. And that's why you requested the request of the President of the United States to visit you all so that him can veto that and say, no, that not take place. And then you find, as I listen now to a few Africans that don't have no kinds of understanding. But then again, I can't blame them because them are Christian-minded. Whether they are Protestants, whether they're Catholics, or whether they're Anglican, they are Christian-minded. Them not work with truth. They're working with a bias against what they will shout out and scream out to be Arabs. And on top of that, maybe they say Muslims. So there's a bloody prejudice and a racist into their mind. You've never asked, you Africans who sit there, you've never asked for us to come home. You've never asked the West to confess for their slavery, for what they did. They're kidnapping us and putting us into slavery for 400, 500 and something years. You never asked for us to be released and come home. But you're gonna sit down there and oppose humanity and the respectability of life and sovereignty. That hurt. And then to have a female, a mother. Maybe you haven't hacked your wound. I don't know. But that was painful. If you said that your country do not have any comment and you abstain, I would say that's better, much better. But to defend the US and all of those others and say that they have a right to this and a right to that, what right do we have as Africans? Where's the rights that was taken away from us? Will they return? Where's the barbaric treatment and the murder of us? Has anybody been charged? And then we have the Ghanaian representative. Should be ashamed of yourself. You go around the Caribbean making us believe that you're so sincere and you're apologetic and we can come on down. And I'm saying to my family, what did it mean come on down? Huh? And do what? When I tell you we like we are fool, that we don't need no visa, to hell with your visa. Now you represent a people that go and capture other people's land, vilify the people them, set up an apartheid system, and been killing and abusing the people them for so much years. And you're supporting that type of behavior. You're behaving like you can't see what is human rights and dignity. It's a shame. It's a shame. So I've concluded in my own spirit that Malik al-Shabazz, Malcolm X, Al-Mawali had a lot of issues with the nation and the United States. But I felt today, my soul felt today, yesterday, watching all of that took place, that the biggest problem, the real problem, and why he had to go, why you all felt he had to go, is he was going to come to that place, that venue, and expound to the world what has been happening and what needs to happen and what changes are required there and then. And he had the representation or the support of so many African countries at that time. And because of his eloquence in speech and the understanding and the comprehension of words and locality, he would have made such a big difference. Because none of you could have said you didn't comply, didn't understand, or he's out of line or out of sync, or he's not on cue. So instead of facing all of that, it appeared to my soul that it was deemed that he wouldn't be given that opportunity. And instead of you just telling him he wasn't welcome, you all decided to kill him. The last African that spoke, and you disrespected that African was the Emperor Haile Selassie I. You all jeered, mocked, stamped, banged desses and everything to prohibit him from speaking. And it got to the stage where he didn't stop. So what you did was be so offensive. That's what you all did to us. And that was the League of Nations then. After that, you called yourself the United Nations. And you changed the rule. The whole ground rules was changed. And civilized people, people with integrity, people with education, people with understanding, has tolerated the fact that Britain, France, Russia and America, white supremacists, you are the leaders. And when you veto something, it veto. When you not vote for something, it not go through. When you walk out, session is finished. And then you want people to plead. But African people have been pleading with you with blood, sweat, and tears for centuries and centuries and millenniums for racial abuse and racism. Now the world can see and really understand that you all are the racists and that these people who call themselves Jews, you're criminals. You have no form of sentiment. All my life, from the age of 15, I've been listening, I've been hearing you all. And you show no form of humanitarian sympathy for anybody. And yet still, you tell the people them who have this mythology in them head that you are Jews. And they only cling to you because they believe that rubbish. The whole Christian elite believe that. And because they deal with fiction, they deal with fiction. They do. They feel that somehow you are going to bring them to this promise 144,000 elect, and that this Jesus is going to come back to earth because of you all. I mean, Isa alayhi salam, Christ, will return, but this title they all use, Jesus, I don't know who that is, so I can't really give to that. But bloodletting, and only you all are sacred. No one else is sacred. And Britain, who actually put you there, shows their hand of yesteryears. We have two political parties that have no sympathy for and respect for human life. Yet still they're going to be elections over here also. So I'm wondering how the population of England, how they're going to represent and who they're going to vote for. Because none of them are worthy to vote for. The world has seen you all. We've seen you all with George Floyd. We've seen you with Rodney King. We've seen you all with so much things. But because of multimedia, it got to touch the world. see Garveyites, that's when we're supposed to use the multimedia and the telephone and everything for, you know, and stop all this rubbish conversation and this disrespect of our women, our mothers, and all this foolish talking. Yeah? And now, on this twisted thing where Emperor Nero don't tell people about fake news and manipulation of news and everything. And I said, week before last, the man told the truth. But when they want him to do that, so when I set him up, when I set up the stage to go against him, now when I poison him, and he's one of yours. Yes, Emperor Nero is one of yours. Huh? And everybody that when I get for talk against him, comes and talk against him, and then remove themselves from everything. I don't understand them thing there. And this is the same pattern that these people have done. That's the same pattern. They must have their way. So they may have got something on all of you. They may have got something on all of you. And whether you believe in God or whether you believe in humanity, right, you fear for the exposure. It could be a lot of things. But then I keep telling my people about transitioning. And the young man, the person who represent them, that will sit in the United Nations and start talking talk, that's not an elder from yesteryears. That's a transitional person, which is natural. Is we African Caribbean, we just won't seem to learn. And American blacks don't seem to understand. Transitioning is very important. It happens. It's part of life. The point I'm making is, who is it that educated him, and who is it that stimulated his ego and his emotion to be so prejudiced and racist against another set of people? Who did that to him? He exposed it to the world. You can see the way he acted and the things he said and how he said them, and then his requirements. And then how he was coached. He had pictures, and listen, I told my cousins, the black man and woman needs to learn how to cry. How to cry. In political affairs, how to touch the emotion of people. Those people are well trained. That's the only thing he didn't do. But he wouldn't have done that because his duty was to get that from the audience, from his colleagues. And he achieved that, even though he was gross. Every quarter they come to Europe and do the same thing with the European Union. And once you listen to them, you see they're very, very consistent. I'm a basketball coach. I am consistent with what I do. That's one of the things that we were taught early. If we want to be serious about developing people, being responsible for people, you have to be consistent. And once they hug onto a word, they're consistent with it. Hamas, terrorist. And then come to the side. Babies, our babies, that their heads, right? So when you hear babies and heads, you go back to the remembrance, hey, this is gross. And then people sitting down in that United Nations, remember the reports that was coming in about this ISIS and these films of alleged people being beheaded. So many people were crying. So many people were hurt. Then, if you ask someone to show us, and why wasn't UNICEF and all these other people allowed to visit, see, right? Then you turn around to say, are you doubting us? Are you calling us liars? And then, if that part don't work, you've got it all set up, then you turn around and says that our religion demands such and such of privacies. And that is left just like that. And you move on to something else. I mean, we're abused, black people. We don't shout and scream that they're Semitic. We should. We say they're racist. The tapes and everything shows. Their voices, the names they call us, and people can hear. The courts turn around and ignore that. But let us turn around and say, yo, freedom and rights for the Palestinians. And we say it with so much passion. And we say it in spaces that maybe we shouldn't be. I don't know. Then we're criminalized and we are arrested. We're spoken to, and then we're arrested. Because my mother's age group say they're hurt and they have reflection of Auschwitz or the Second World War and so on. My other aunt is 105, so don't ever try to point with a finger over here at this family. We are still alive. We have records. We're not talking out of we backside. We're talking out of true experience. True experience. Wallahi. Stay there. So, if she was to come and see Prince King Charles and put some demands on him, what would he say? Oh, you're too old. What would you do if I was to give you £1 million today? What would you do with it? You seem not to be able to walk. This is how you all speak to people. They are going to tell them and say, y'all have lived already. So what do you want? What do you want? As the program goes on, I'll tell you what we want. We want freedom and respect. And all the people on the earth who are victims of injustice will get it. Y'all can't stay up there. Go back to your books and see what the people you're following, the Romans, you claim them to be your ancestors, you follow them, y'all are Caucasians, but go back to your books and see what happened to them. Go back to your books and see what happened to them. And then the other ones that deal with your religion, go back and see what happened to what name? The Greek. Listen here. Every kingdom fell. Every kingdom fell. What you all have been doing is blotting out God's people, which we all are. But there are those of us who fear God and not man and wish for righteousness and happiness in life. But because they do not control nuclear bombs and soldiers and all of this, you take advantage. So to live on this earth and be free, you have to play the game like you. You have to be part of your club. Be a winehead, be a sexual pervert, be a warmonger, and all these type of ills. And if they're not satisfactory, just join your armed forces. And wherever you send us, we just go there and take matters in our hands. Very so often, you have a fall guy. You know, you did that in Iran, in Iraq. You had some fall people, you know what I mean? Them committed some sodomite things and there, and everything, and Abu Ghraib, and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna talk this, I'm gonna talk that, and everything else. You know, every so often, there's a 1-2. But the International Criminal Court, it's only weak hearts that goes there, mainly Africans. It's not justice. It's not humanitarian justice. It's people that don't abide by you all and people that you want to make spectacles of. That's what that is. There's no reason for people to be having a fight and losing life and property and land, and the whole world is under recession, and this food cannot be distributed properly and so forth with this Ukraine thing. It's the NATO. It's all about trying to control other people. And you all are doing that. And that United Nations never discuss all them things and sort them things there out. A man go in the next man's backyard and want to dominate him, and him come with a thing called NATO, and him decide them gonna do this, and they want to peep on them, and and now this one here that's been going on for so long, now the dramas get to a certain point that we don't know if really, we don't know. No one knows. It's so sad. It's so sad. So we're begging you, ease off the pressure. The people can't take it no more. Ease off the pressure, man.
Oh yeah, now for the world is troubled and living ain't easy. The world is troubled. You got to believe it. The world is troubled and living ain't easy. I said the world is troubled. You got to believe it. Cast away all evil spell. Don't play a hero, you'll end down in hell. You got your troubles and I've got mine. Let's work together to make things fine. Gotta be sure of all things we do. Preserve our
Yes, when a person can turn around and say, right, that we're going to obliterate a people, we cannot allow any of them to be remain. When you read this Genesis and Exodus, there are passages in there with that type of talking. And people want to attribute that to God. It has nothing to do with God. God never tell nobody go someplace and then them report to him say, hear that now, if I report to him, him say, go to this area and such and such, and then report to him say, there's people there. So what should we do? And them said, take the strongest from among you and go there and wipe them out. Take the strongest from among you and go down to them and wipe them out. Men, women, children. Wipe them out. And the land should be yours. A lie. And I got that. And I got. But people has been raised with these things. And you want to call somebody fundamental extremist and terrorist? You better get the whole of the population and deprogram them and remove that nonsense from the earth. And you can't tell me, say, that that me make up something. And the Muslims, feasibility, would not open their mouth and say this is part and parcel. The problem, the people and believe in these things. Their act and reaction are based on those things. Then remove God and then put Jesus in place. And they don't care nothing about God. And then when them talk about God and everything, you find out that there's 2 or 3 different revelation taking place. You don't know when God is instruct, when God is talking, when God is giving a covenant or anything. Because there's something that's so barbaric. And the persons who God is supposed to be commanding and instructing did not reply and ask a question. Why should I do this? They did not get tough in Egypt. They weren't rebellious in Egypt. They weren't fighting. They never considered fighting or arming themselves. Yo, black people, read the story, read the thing properly again, Make notes, man. Jacob's children never found it necessary to train themselves. Or even, listen, they could have left. They never decided to do that. It was Moses who left. It was when he left, his stepfather, the king, that we call Pharaoh, but he was a king then. The titles that they had was king. Okay. He was in charge. When Moses was absent, he fled. He died. His stepbrother, Ramses, was elected. And the conditions and circumstances changed. But we wasn't told. Not we. The Bible don't tell you about that change. What the Bible tells you is about Moses going back to Egypt. And what somebody are telling him what to do. And it's strange that he tells him to tell me to do good. And don't be afraid. I mustn't be afraid. So once he's assured that I will do this, he tells him now that he will harden the king's heart. So that which you tell him to do, he won't do. What kind of thing that? What is that? Yeah, this is cherry. Or this is honey. Take your time and caress it and give praises and thanks for it. It will heal this, that, and the other. So he said, okay. So you give it to me. You explain to me what's its benefit and how to use it and so forth. And the Lord God has told me and he want me to share this with you and so forth. I even tell you where you can get it. Even though I've bought some and give you and show you what to do and how to do what not to do. And then you're happy, I'm feeling good. But God, I've told you that when you leave, depart from his presence, I will harden his heart so he be in doubt of everything that you have said. I will harden his heart so he would not attempt to taste that which you've given him, for he wouldn't trust you. So what kind of scheme is that? When I make out that God was a man and very deviant, and that's how you all behave. People, if you think that I'm wrong, read the book again. And you only have to come all the way up to what? From chapter 1 to chapter 6. And if you want to really get the full ingredients and you start crying, go all the way up to chapter 8. It's painful. It's painful. Don't take my word, just go back to the book. But guess what? The pastor them tell you, said, no, that's absolutely, no, we've left that and we've gone to the New Testament and we're in a period of grace. Now, let us not deal with that, deviate down this, sir. Let's stay at the beginning, because it's God we want to know, and it's God we want to serve. So what we're going to do now is, because this thing is too much drama, and we're on reflection, we're going straight into the Bible again, because that's where I should have started. But since the world's in trouble, you know what I mean, and we have this music here, long time, the 12 tribe of Israel, you know, Dennis Emmanuel Brown, man, Gadman, and so forth, we can't help playing it because it says everything. It says everything too clear. I'm going to try doctor it and get the ad-lib, you know, even contact Ilawi and just get the vocal, you know what I mean? A cappella. Big thing. Dennis Brown, nobody else. It's a joke, a serious thing.
And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch. And he builded a city, and called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch. And unto Enoch was born Ired, and Ired begat Mehujael, and Mehujael begat Methusael, and Methusael begat Lamech. And Lamech took unto him 2 wives. The name of the one was Ada, and the name of the other Zillah. And Ada bare Jabal, and he was the father of such as dwell in tents, and of such as have cattle. And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of such as handle the harp and organ. And Zillah, she also bare Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron. And the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. And Lamech said unto his wives Ada and Zillah,
Hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech. Hearken unto my speech, for I have slain a man to my wounding, and a young man to my hurt. If Cain shall be avenged 7-fold, truly Lamech 70 and 7-fold.
And Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son, and called his name Seth.
For God,
said she,
hath appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew.
And to Seth, to him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then began men to call upon the name of the Lord. Chapter 5. This is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam in the day when they were created. And Adam lived 130 years, and begat a son in his own likeness, after his image, and called his name Seth. And the days of Adam after he had begotten Seth were 800 years, and he begat sons and daughters. And all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. And Seth lived 105 years, and begat Enos. And Seth lived after he begat Enos 807 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. And Enos lived 90 years, and begat Cainan. And Enos lived after he begat Cainan 815 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enos were 905 years, and he died. And Cainan lived 70 years, and begat Mahalaleel. And Cainan lived after he begat Mahalaleel 840 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Cainan were 910 years, and he died. And Mahalaleel lived 65 years, and begat Jared. And Mahalaleel lived after he begat Jared 830 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Mahalaleel were 895 years, and he died. And Jared lived 162 years, and he begat Enoch. And Jared lived after he begat Enoch 800 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. And Enoch lived 65 years, and begat Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after he begat Methuselah 300 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. And Methuselah lived 187 years, and begat Lamech. And Methuselah lived after he begat Lamech 782 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. And Lamech lived 182 years, and begat a son. And he called his name Noah, saying, This same shall comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands, because of the ground which the Lord hath cursed. And Lamech lived after he begat Noah 595 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. And Noah was 500 years old. And Noah begat Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Chapter 6. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man, whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man, and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, The end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Rooms shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without with pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make it of. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. A window shalt thou make to the ark, and in a cubit shalt thou finish it above. And the door of the ark shalt thou set in the side thereof, with lower, second, and third stories shalt thou make it. And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth, to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life, from under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee will I establish my covenant. And thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons and thy wife and thy sons' wives with thee. And of every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark, to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female, of fowls after their kind, and of cattle after their kind, of every creeping thing of the earth after his kind, 2 of every sort shall come unto thee, to keep them alive. And take thou unto thee of all food that is eaten, and thou shalt gather it to thee, and it shall be for food for thee and for them. Thus did Noah, according to all that God commanded him, so did he. Chapter 7. And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by 7s, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by 2, the male and his female. Of fowls also of the air by 7s, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth. For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth. And Noah did according unto all that the Lord commanded him. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters was upon the earth. And Noah went in, and his sons and his wife Noah into the ark, the male and the female, as God had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened, and the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. In the selfsame day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them, into the ark. They and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort. And they went in unto Noah into the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. And they that went in male and female of all flesh, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased, and bare up the ark, and it was lift up above the earth, and the waters prevailed, and were increased greatly upon the earth. And the ark went upon the face of the waters, and the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered, and all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl and of cattle and of beast and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man. All in whose nostrils was the breath of life, of all that was in the dry land, died. And every living substance was destroyed which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowl of the heaven, and they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. And waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. Chapter 8. And God remembered Noah, and
I've been trying a long time, still I can't make it. Everything I try to do seems to go wrong. It seems I have done something wrong. Why they trying to keep me down? Oh, God bless, no one curse. Thank God I'm not the worst. Better must come one day. Better must come. They can't conquer me. Better must come, yeah. I've been trying a long time, but I can't make it. No one to keep me in helping hand.
Yes, at 75 years in a Palestine. So you what now? I want you to watch something carefully. And then ask yourself a question. were there three generations? Were there two Noahs? I mean, Adam, because if the sons of God, who are they, saw that the daughters of man was fine and fair and went in unto them. Now, who are these sons of God? And they're talking years. Where did these words come from? And they're talking 100. Where did they get the zero? I said that last week. 100, 900, 500, and such, and 10. Yeah? 450, plus 50, and so forth. And they're talking of days and years with numbers. You understand? So we had the word, we had the language Latin. But before these English and everybody European got this something, we're talking about Amharic and Swahili and Hebrew. So and then when you ask a Christian scholar, them talk about the Greek, and you're saying, well, hold on, what's the Greek got to do with this? Right? And so forth. You understand? So it's not that we have come of an age and we're blaspheming. We're reading, and we want some clarity, some realization. We seem to be getting some strange commentary. Very important. Now listen to this brother here, and don't jock him off. Let's listen.
As we see this last Saturday, it was shocking to the world. Almost you have Palestinian death and suffering, but we as Jews do take this into consideration. It's not how I personally look at this. It's how, as a Jew who's observant, who's following the rules of the Judaism, of the Torah, Judaism is subservience to God. That's what it's all about. It's a religion of 3,000 years, while Zionism is a mere 150 years. It's a transformation to nationalism, to have a piece of land. It's a political movement. It's a materialistic movement. It was started by Jews who are non-religious, and they're simply incorporating, using the name Israel, using the Star of David, and claiming that it's a God, it's given to them by God. And we who are following the Torah, who are strange, is totally antithetical to our teachings, contradictory. The Jewish community had been living together with the Muslim community and the Christian. It was shocking to the world. Personally look at this. It's how, as a Jew who's observant, who's following the rules of the Judaism, of the Torah, Judaism is subservience to God. That's what it's all about. It's a religion of 3,000 years, while Zionism is a mere 150 years. It's a transformation to nationalism, to have a piece of land. It's a political movement. It's a materialistic movement. It was started by Jews who are non-religious, and they're simply incorporating, using the name Israel, using the Star of David, and claiming that it's a God, it's given to them by God. And we who are following the Torah, who are true to the Torah, stand up adamantly refuting what they're saying. The Torah clearly states that we shall not kill, we shall not steal, and the whole concept is strange, is totally antithetical to our teachings, contradictory. The Jewish community had been living together with the Muslim community and the Christian community, and since this movement started, and since they gained hold in the land and eventually got rule over the land, there's been endless bloodshed. There's hate that has grown thousandfold. It's a wedge driven between the Jews and the Muslims, and it's brought death and suffering to the Palestinian people in the majority, but to the Jewish populace also. As we see this last Saturday, it was shocking to the world, but the world doesn't seem to take in regard the 75 years that every day almost you have Palestinian death and suffering. But we as Jews do take this into consideration. We say this is clearly a rebellion against God, and it hurts us more than usual because it's being done in our name. And the rabbis you are seeing, the power bases that you are seeing in the settlements that is fringe to the Jewish communities, those are the ones who bought into this tale that it's God's wish. But the central part of Judaism, the very religious, in whatever country, maybe in Argentina, the very religious says, no, we're dead set against this. We cry with the Palestinians. And therefore, what's happening today in Gaza, that they're bombing them relentlessly, and they're pointing and they're accusing them of being animals. It's even hard to repeat, and whatever they say of them, of being terrorists, it's not. It's all to cover their totally illegitimate occupation. And to that, I'll bring a simple proof. We lived together, the Jewish community, for hundreds of years in Palestine, in Egypt, Morocco, Tunisia, Iran, in all the countries we lived and flourished as religious Jews amongst religious Muslims without any human rights groups to protect us. We always lived together. We babysat each other's children, even though we have a distinctly different religion. And it was never a cause of animosity. All that changed is the introduction of Zionism, the control of the land. And since that came, which is not 1948, it's in the 1890s or so, and they started coming in and taking over the lands. Since then, there's death and suffering, the Palestinians and of the Jews, because they are creating this fear, this hate, this estrangement. We can show many pictures how the Jews lived together. Anybody old Arab will tell you, and every old Jew, how we used to babysit each other's children, like I say, and help each other. And I've had many stories of people will tell us. So it's clearly what these Ben Gvir and these other people are saying. They are coming from Mizrahi. That is that segment that is religious Zionists, but not the central, what we call the Eid Chorei, this God-fearing community, and around the world. We stand in total opposition, and it hurts us, and we have no words for the suffering, the Palestinians. That's why we came out, even today. Yes, we go out in tens of thousands, but we would have hundreds of thousands demonstrating constantly, but the fear of the repercussions from the Zionists, because they're vicious. We went out, 2 days ago to Manhattan. We demonstrated. I came back, the tar cars were slashed, the mirrors were broken. This is nothing to what they threat. They have death threats, and in Jerusalem and Al-Quds and in the other parts of occupied Palestine, they people get killed and arrested and so forth. So there's a reason why there's less of a voice that you will hear, even though our communities are full in opposition to Zionism. And we plead with the leaders today. It's very scary what today we are seeing. And there's assembled 300,000 soldiers at the gates of Gaza, and it's and of course the bombing there, and it's heartrending. There's no words, and we can only again plead with the world leaders and demand that this injustice, this criminality, this suffering of the Palestinian people has to be addressed. It must be stopped. One day this will end. It's against God. And we as Jews are crying and hurting with them and praying for them. And we go out tirelessly. Some of us go out all the time. I mean, we're doing this for years. And many of others, there's demonstrations in the front of the UN, and therefore we're going out. A lot of the media doesn't cover it because they know that they will be accused of being anti-Semitic. But we try, and we hope that with God's help, that with his compassion, that he will free them, and ultimately with a totally free Palestine, we as Jews will be able to show our tremendous gratification for the fact that we were embraced and taken in when we suffered in Europe. We went through crusades, inquisitions. It was the Muslim countries that took us in, and we flourished there. So we should be able to show again our gratefulness and not to watch how they're being vilified. We hope it will happen soon in our days. And we apologize that what's being done in the name of Judaism. As we see this last Saturday, it was shocking to the world, but the world doesn't seem to take in regard the 75 years.
1, 2, 3. Sorry. choose to make an example of that, because we not stand up for rubbish. You understand me? Serious thing when we flex with muscle, just like that. Lord God.
Goodness gracious! Lord God. Hey, look at that! To the melody, unto the. Key thoughts if you say so. And if you talk like sing the song to the alright. Piece of paper. I tell ya, the banging and the gun. The bits of paper littering all around. I beg you pick them up and down. Say, to the sun or lead the way down. Can you keep a secret? Tell ya, can you keep it in your mind? That can you keep a secret? Got to keep it in your mind, as I would say. And don't you laugh, and don't you talk, and don't you skylark. Got to, good guys, you got to keep it in your mind. Now swing your down the line or to the son of the Reverend Judge Roy McLean. So never cat will soon be on the scene, right down even, as I would say.
See, a serious reverend, that, I tell you, we couldn't even get him to dust him out. Come here. Stop it, may I tell you. So we're going on, we'll leave you with something. You understand? So you can tell your friends them, you can pray, you know. You don't have to stand outside and scream with people. You know what I mean? You have to be careful right now. So you can share it with a friend and discuss it. But don't come with no pseudo kind of, yeah, your brain will tell you this and brain will tell you that. No. Just look for the reality. What is true in front of your face. And then let's ask ourselves a question. Especially now the elections are going to come. You know what I mean? Yeah. Who I represent you, who you going to try represent. And then you find out that long time we there and we own. See? We there and we own. So listen this and listen keenly. So where's the guidance?
We begin in New York and a heated session of the United Nations Security Council, a meeting where hopes were dashed of moving closer to an end to the conflict between Israel and Hamas militants. Israel's foreign minister launched a furious attack on the head of the UN, Antonio Guterres. Israel's ambassador to the UN also called on Guterres to resign. The UN chief had earlier criticized Israel's bombardment of Gaza and called for an end to what he described as the collective punishment of the Palestinian people.
It is important to also recognize the attacks by Hamas did not happen in a vacuum. The Palestinian people have been subjected to 56 years of suffocating occupation. They have seen their land steadily devoured by settlements and plagued by violence, their economy stifled, their people displaced, and their homes demolished. Their hopes for a political solution to their plight have been vanishing. But the grievances of the Palestinian people cannot justify the appalling attacks by Hamas, and those appalling attacks cannot justify the collective punishment of the Palestinian people.
Well, those comments by the UN chief angered Israel's foreign minister, Eli Cohen.
Mr. Secretary General, in what world do you live? Definitely, this is not our world.
All right, let's go now to our very own Ines Pohl. She is at the UN following this heated session for us today. Ines, and that's what it was, a heated session. Talk to me about it.
It was indeed a heated session, Brent, and that someone really asked the Secretary General to step down doesn't happen all the time. Brent, I had the chance to talk to some top diplomats who attended this Security Council meeting here behind me, and none is really happy with what Secretary General Guterres said here. Many do understand that it is important to give some context, to explain to the world that this is the attack from Hamas is not happening in a vacuum, but hardly anybody really, well, that's not true what I say. I should rephrase that, Brent. Hardly anybody from the Western allies, from those who supporting Israel as well, applause the outspokenness of Secretary General Guterres. They would have liked a little bit more a diplomatic way to talk about the humanitarian crisis which is unfolding in Gaza right now.
Yeah, that's a very good point. We also know that Germany's Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock, she is due to address the council today. Earlier, she repeated her stance that Israel has the right to defend itself, but that civilians, she said, on both sides need protection. Take a listen.
For me, as German foreign minister, it's clear that Israel has the right, indeed the duty, to protect its population, its country, within the framework of the right to self-defense and international law. But standing up for Israel's security also means keeping in mind the suffering of the Palestinians in Gaza. We see their suffering. It is unbearable. Every civilian life is worth the same, both Israeli and Palestinian.
So, Ines, those are comments we've heard from the foreign minister before. What are we expecting to hear from her later today?
Right, Brent, I had the chance to talk to her twice, very early this morning and just an hour or so ago. She is known that in the heart of her foreign policy is her feminist approach, is her approach to really put women and children in the middle of her action. And she was talking about that she just met Palestinian refugees in Jordan not so long ago. So she definitely feels for the Palestinians being stuck in Gaza. But as a German foreign minister, there is no doubt that she stands strong with Israel and definitely supports Israel's right to defend itself. And this is something she will talk about. She probably will also talk about that peace can only take place if it means it's peace for everyone. Again, she's trying to walk this fine line, on the one hand supporting Israel's rights to defend itself, but on the other hand also shine some light on the horrible situation for so many civilians within Gaza.
And at the end of the day, Ines, how much leverage does the UN Security Council really have when it comes to this crisis? I mean, how much pressure can it bring to bear?
Well, the problem, Brian, always is that full members of the Security Council do have the right to veto any resolution. That's one reason why the United States didn't apply their resolution today. They are still negotiating with Russia and China. But having that said, this is the only body in the world where leaders from all around the world at least do come together and sit in one room and listen to each other, talk with each other. So it's definitely not perfect, but what is out there, what is better than the UN?
That's our very own Ines Pohl there with the latest from UN headquarters in New York. Ines, thank you. The Hamas militant group says that more than 5,700 people have now been killed by Israeli airstrikes in Gaza. Israel's blockade is also causing acute shortages of food, water, medicine, and fuel. The UN agency, which helps refugees in Gaza, says that it may have to stop its operations unless more fuel is delivered. And this lack of fuel, it's hindering already stretched emergency services.
The bloodstained wreckage of an ambulance in Gaza. This vehicle was crushed by the blast from an Israeli airstrike, but it will serve one last purpose.
We're running out of fuel, so we have been taking petrol and diesel from the damaged ambulances and using it to fuel the ones that are working.
Gaza's ambulance drivers and medics have been working around the clock and at great personal risk since Israel began bombing the Strip. The Hamas-controlled health ministry says over 5,000 people have been killed in the bombing.
We're having great difficulty transporting the injured. Also because there are several strikes going on at the same time. There are also a lack of communication. It's almost non-existent.
In addition to its air campaign, Israel has enforced a complete blockade of the Gaza Strip, allowing only a trickle of aid since the Hamas terrorist attacks on October 7. It claims that Hamas is hoarding petrol and is refusing to let in any fuel as part of the deliveries. With more and more ambulances destroyed and fuel running out, Gaza's emergency services could soon become defunct, at a time when their work is more important than ever.
I spoke with Ahmed Bayram from the Norwegian Refugee Council, and he told me what would happen if the UN Relief Agency has to end its operations in Gaza due to a lack of fuel.
Guidance.
shall come to pass, the end shall not be near.